Hey, in today's video, I'm going to show you a very sexy funk bass speed hack. So if you want to improve your speed and play some great funk bass, make sure you check this lesson out. Hey guys, it's James here from eBassGuitar, and today we're going to be testing out a brand new, more relaxed, informal style of YouTube video, hence the coffee. So I'd love to know what you think. We're filming with the brand new Go Mixer Pro, which I reviewed a few weeks ago. So please, in the comments below, do let me know what you think of this new style of content. Also, today we're talking funk bass, so I'd love to know who is your favorite funk bass player. Please let me know in the comments below. So today's bass lesson is a 2-bar funk riff, which is inspired by some incredible bass players such as Jaco Pastorius, Francis Rocco Prestia from Tower of Power, and Paul Turner, who plays with the incredible Jamiroquai. And one of the things I see so often which is missing in students' bass playing, which is particularly in the beginner to intermediate phase, which really adds that extra kind of level of finesse or sexiness, shall we say, is articulation. And articulation is skills such as slides, hammer-ons, and pull-offs. These can make the world of difference, and also when used right, they can start to add some incredible speed into your playing, as I'm going to demonstrate in this lesson. So the first thing I'm going to do is slow this bass line down to 90 BPM. The really cool thing about this line is it can work at a variety of tempos. So first of all, let's hear it slow, then we'll take it apart. So don't forget, there's a completely free PDF which comes with this lesson where you can see everything we're discussing today written out in standard notation and tab. There's a link in the description below where you can grab your free copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the 2-bar riff down into 4 subsections, which we're going to go through one by one. The 2 articulations that we're going to use today are hammer-ons and pull-offs. So first of all, a hammer-on is simply where we play the first note as normal, like so, and then we create the second note with our plucking hand by striking down reasonably hard on the next fret, like this. So I'm going to go from a C to a D, like that. And then we can create what's called a pull-off by playing the first note as normal. So I'm going to play the D here, and then I'm going to pull off like this by pulling slightly downwards, and that creates the next note, which is the C there. And as you can see, we can start putting some real speed into our playing if we use these correctly. So first of all, let's take apart the first 2 beats. So this is what it sounds like. So this is a riff in the key of D. So we're going to start on an open A, which is on the last 16th note of the previous bar, just before the first beat. And what we're going to do is we're going to play that open A, and then we're going to sound the D on the first beat of the next bar by hammering on. So we're going to, so that's our first 2 notes. So to practice that to begin with. And then we're going to jump up to the octave D like this, and then come back to the lower D like this. And do that again. So that's the first beat, and then the second beat we're going to go up to the octave D at the 7th fret like this, and we're going to go C, and then we're going to go D, sorry, and then we're going to go back to the C, and then hammer onto the D again like that. So the second beat is. So let's put those first 2 beats together, and again. So don't forget, whenever you're learning a riff like this, break it down into its smallest parts and practice it slowly. So those are the first 2 beats. Now, if you've learned the first 2 beats properly, the 3rd and 4th beat will be really straightforward. So this is the 3rd and 4th beat, which is simply a low D, going to a high D, and then back again, like that, and then back up to the high D again, like this. So it's this pattern. And again. And that last note lands directly on the 4th beat. So let's put the whole of this first bar together. And what you'll notice is this first bar has that disco funky vibe which comes from playing octaves, which is super, super cool. So this is the first bar. And again. So the fun really starts on the second 2 beats of the second bar. So let me play it to you. So let me take this apart a section at a time. So this starts on a D, which is on the last 16th note of the first bar. And then we hammer onto the F on the first beat of the second bar. Then we play the C. Then we go back to the F. And then this is where it gets interesting. What we do is we pull off to the open string using our first finger at the F, like this. Like so. So we end up... So practice that to begin with. So let me put that whole phrase together. So we play those notes. And then we go up to the G, for this is the second part of this phrase. So we hammer on from the open D to the G, and then we play the D at the 7th fret on the G string, and then we come back and hit the G there, and then we do that pull off again to the open string, like that, and then on the 3rd beat of the bar, we hit a D like that. So we go from the open D, which is created from our left hand like that, to the fretted D like that at the 5th fret. So let me play those 2 beats together. And again. So a really cool effect, and that speed comes from the pull-offs in the left hand. That's the critical thing. Now for the final 2 beats, we've covered this already. It's simply D octaves. So it is a low D, we go to a high D, and then back to the low D, and then one more high D like that. So let me play it to you. And again. So we have all 4 beats. So let me remind you of it. This is the first one. Second phrase, then the 3rd phrase, and then the 4th phrase. So let's put the whole thing together. So the next thing is let's try it with some drums. First of all, I'm going to try it at 90 beats per minute now, so you can hear what that sounds like. So guys, if you're enjoying this lesson, I'd love it if you could like and subscribe to the eBassGuitar channel. There is a red button somewhere around this screen. We release a lesson just like this every single week, designed for beginner to intermediate bass players and those who want to push their bass playing onto that advanced level. So make sure you click that red button so you'll be the first to know when we release a new lesson. So guys, I want to show you where this 2-bar funk riff idea can go. So we started it off at this 90 BPM, which is a nice, dirty, funky tempo. But if we start speeding up slowly and hit 120 BPM, we can get much more of a disco vibe, which can sound super, super cool. But what else we can do with it? We can start transposing this riff around the neck. So we are in the key of D. So there it is much faster at around 120 BPM. Now what I want to do is I literally just want to take that riff and shift it up a half step into E flat, and we can do exactly the same thing. Now the astute amongst you will go, well, what happens to the open strings at that point? Why don't you have to transpose those or shift those? So the interesting thing is if you play this in the key of E flat, what you'll notice is those open strings, the A and the D, are technically notes that should clash with the chord, but because we were playing them at speed, they just sound percussive. And that's what's really cool. So what I want you to do now is take this riff and start moving it around the neck. So that was E flat, we can put it up into F. Then we can put it up into G like this. Anywhere on the fretboard will work, so please do experiment. So what I'm going to do to finish off this lesson, honestly, I'm going to have a jam with the drum machine at about 120 beats per minute, so you can hear what it sounds sped up, and then I'm going to move this riff around the neck so you can see what this effect sounds like. So make sure you have some fun bouncing off those open strings using hammer-ons and pull-offs, because they're a great effective way of adding that speed and those really cool pro level articulations into your playing. So guys, that's the end of today's bass guitar lesson. If you've enjoyed it and you like this new relaxed style of content, please let me know in those comments below. Also, if you're looking to push your bass guitar playing forward, make sure you jump over to eBassGuitar.com and check out the Bass Lab Plus. This is a full step-by-step program designed especially for beginner to intermediate bass players, which teach you all of the most important skills you need to play in a band, rock out in a worship team, or simply have a ton of fun jamming to your favorite tracks at home. So make sure you click that link in the description below to grab your free 14-day trial for the Bass Lab Plus. Cheers, I've been James from eBassGuitar.com and I'll catch you next time.